This is June 2024, and this is one of the narrations for the museum. And of course, as soon as you look at this, you'll know that we're in a different venue. The museum is busy now, and I wanted to talk with Crabby Andy, so I thought the canteen at the arena is a perfect place. So Andrew, maybe start with your Crabby Andy on the highway and how it evolved down to here.
Yeah, in 2009, my family decided to start a different venue from the normal jobs, after the mill closed, and tried different trucking jobs, and we decided to take on a business called the Grey Rocks. And that building was closed for about 2 years before we got there, and we didn't really know anything about the restaurant business, anything about the motel business. Went into that kitchen, I looked around, I didn't even know how to start anything, but we bought the building, we were ready to give it a try. So 2009 to 2017, we ran that, basically 10 years, we ran that business with young kids and got through it. But we're also looking for an idea in the tail end of our business to get more local people up to our business. So Megan then was saying, we need something catchy rather than Grey Rocks Inn.
Oh, right.
So she said, Crabby Andy's. We got to do something like Crabby. And so we got signage at the restaurant and advertising the Crabby Andy's. They put more specials on with pizzas and wings and tried to make it more fun. We then sold the business. Prior to selling the business, 2017, there was a tender coming up for the canteen. And back then it was Celeste Manella. It was her last couple of years before retiring. And so we tendered on that, not knowing if our business would sell or not, but it was for sale at the time. And we got the tender. And so we came into the canteen, and it felt really good. It felt community oriented. It was fun with the kids, the hustle and bustle out here. And
what time of year did you start here? Was it like the tender was for the fall?
it was for the fall. So we came in, I think their tender started October 31st.
Getting ready for hockey.
Getting ready for hockey, maybe a bit earlier. But so we came in to figure all this out, because this was as everybody who's tried it, it's a fast pace, totally different from a restaurant business.
And all kids.
And all kids. So 2017, and we ended up, we were pretty much here all the way through. It closed a bit during COVID. Just jumping ahead quickly, we were here about 5 years. Right up to a year ago, basically.
Right.
And
I was just going to say, so now you were new to the restaurant business, but now you're new to the hustle bustle of a canteen.
Yeah.
And one thing I remember is the heat in here.
It was very hot in here. and when we walked through the doors in 2017, I came from a full kitchen in a restaurant of 50 seats. And we walked in here, and did not look anything like this at all. It had an old table. We had an old Pepsi machine, and all there was a little deep fryer like this with a little basket, which was a perfect fryer. And I'm looking at that because I came from a restaurant with all these baskets, and I looked at the number of people that we had to serve. But we made it work. So for all those years we were here, except for the previous year, we had this.
Right.
But before that, we just had that little deep fryer and all those people up there.
I remember that.
And so we got creative with the pizzas and other menu ideas, quick to get out for the kids.
Because you've got to admit, fries are what everybody wants, right?
Fries, poutine was the biggest seller. Kids love the poutine.
I know.
And then the pizza by the slice. We did that right away, and that was very, very
And you became famous for your pizzas as well, and still are, which was a bonus for you.
It was for sure. That was a perfect seller, and it kept you going. It kept you going. You had a lot of beverages for sale. Like lots of people bought beverages. Gatorade flew through here, but they told you out there what they wanted, and you brought it in. Right. You always made sure you've got what this captive audience basically wanted.
Right.
So you looked after, or we looked after all their needs.
Right, because you had a variety of stuff. I remember coming and looking at that great big rack you had. Just
Chips and yeah, it was almost a mini little
Did you
convenience.
have a popcorn maker?
Yeah, so from a supplier, I brought in all the equipment. So I brought in the slush puppy. That was the biggest. That was the
Right.
slush puppy. The first time we got that in, I remember we sold almost 100 cups at a junior B game. And we looked at that. I had to run to Thunder Bay and get more supplies.
I
But
just think that's the dead of winter and they're.
it was dead of winter. I never
have a
thought.
slush puppy.
The guy in Thunder Bay said, "You need this in your canteen." I said, "I don't think that's wintertime." He goes, "No, believe me, it's going to sell." And that first night was 100 cups.
Wow.
And it every day that we would sell a lot of the
Right.
slush puppies to the kids.
And you're right. It's the buyers that set what you're going to sell.
Yeah, because then again, just like talking about getting into a restaurant that I had no idea about on the highway, I had no idea about a concession canteen. And so it was good. Supplier on Thunder Bay says, "Okay, well, I supply all these canteens. This is what you're going to need." So I came in with the hot chocolate machine. None of that was here.
Right.
So I brought all that equipment in here from the supplier who knew what.
So when you're saying that he rents that to you?
He rents that to you for. I buy the supplies. The machine's there for me.
Oh, I
As
see.
long as you buy the supplies at that time.
Right,
I'm
right.
sure it's different now, but
Wow. I just remember how it evolved. I'm thinking from the things you were serving, like the healthy food did not.
yeah, the wide menu. We did steak and shrimp and everything else up on the highway to just fast food to what they wanted.
Yeah.
Because if you tried to do all that fancy stuff here, it wasn't going to work with, and people wouldn't have the time to wait in between hours.
And the other thing is you got the school kids at noon hour, right?
Yes, that was another thing I looked at because when we first came in as a family here to run this, we were only coming in the evenings at 4:00 because that's the way this was initially set up, this
Right.
place. And then I start looking around and I'm like, I think I can make this bigger. And I think you're between two schools. This seems like the kids love it. So I started to do a full day and I started advertising on Facebook to get these kids into here for lunchtime because the kids need a break too to get out of there, and this is a safe place for them at the community center.
Right.
And so all of a sudden that blew up, and we had kids walking from the public school in St. Ed's, and we were consistent Monday to Friday, and this place would fill up with kids at lunchtime. And Jay Paul is actually the first kid that ever, he got a church account for me as a young kid when I first opened. yeah, little Jay Paul. So I had an account for him, and then after that, the parents start saying, "Could you set up an account for my child?" And they'd come in everybody paid. They come in every week. So the kids always were able to come in and get what they wanted for the week, and we looked after them.
And the gift cards were very popular.
Yes, we did the gift
That was the best
cards, too.
prize, right?
Yes, everybody liked that Crabby Andy's
Everybody
gift
wanted
card.
those prizes. When Kristen had them, that's what they were looking for, was a prize.
Yeah.
For it was a gift card for here. It worked out really good.
It worked
and
out
I
good.
ended up doing this for Leah too.
Yes,
And then she's doing them at where she is now.
She's doing them there, too.
She's doing them too. I
Yeah.
just think it's an easy way to give the kids something rather than give them the cash.
yes.
The gift
Yes,
card.
because the kids know that this, whether like Leah's doing an excellent job here too, and the kids know that this is the place to come.
Right.
You know, for that treat and
Yeah.
and the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think even she's like with the kids, and so are we, right? Like,
So you must have found Friday nights really blew you away with the hockey there.
Friday nights was at first I was thinking, geez, I got to put a special on like fish and chips. I got to do something to get people on a Friday. I didn't realize how busy a Friday was on a junior B game, and surprisingly, those numbers blew right out of the water. The sale numbers on a Friday, I could not, like, compared to even being on the highway just running a restaurant, I could not believe the comparison on a Friday night here.
Right.
It was incredible,
Right.
the amount of people in here with hockey.
Right.
And then with what we had developed locally, with just the clientele, people
Right.
coming in for takeout,
Yeah.
and the kids in between all that.
And then the tournaments on top of that.
The tournaments on top of that too.
Yeah.
I would get the Cisco truck in here and load up all the freezers, and I'd go to another person's house, load up their freezer, because there was just, it was incredible, the amount of people.
And I remember some of the older people really liked to come here just to sit and have their lunch here. And
Yes.
that was good because, once again, times changed and the restaurants weren't available. So I remember people coming here and enjoying.
People were, there'd be groups of seniors and other people that wanted to get together.
Workers as well.
Workers, some people would call ahead and say, hey, we're going to come on Tuesday, we're going to come on Thursday. They'd sit and relax, and then I ended up getting a coffee group in here.
Right.
They were asking me to come in here, and I said, I'd open up early for that too, and they'd sit and have coffee and chat.
Right. Right.
This is, this is a very good multi-purpose building here in Nipigon, and I think it's the hub of the community.
Right.
Yeah.
So then the big change was this needed to be renovated. This
Yes.
kitchen the canteen itself was getting old, right?
Yes.
And you had problems, I know, with
There was ventilation issues, that's why it was so hot in here.
Right.
Ventilation issues for one thing for sure, that was condemned. That also came at the same time as the COVID, where this building had to shut down because of the COVID. And at that time, I was at the curling club.
Right.
So we just basically just had everything run out of the curling club.
So you were at the curling club for how long?
Back then, the CAO had approached me, and they were looking for a different idea for the curling club to generate some more income to pay for the yearly upkeep of it and costs. And so he asked what I thought about trying to open up a sports bar or something in there to attract some people.
Do you think it was successful?
It was. I was impressed. It was very successful up to COVID, up to early February.
Right.
Turned it into a sports bar, gave it a bit of a new look inside there with the help of Kristen and the Township paint, and we ran that. Now that's a very small kitchen, but we managed to do it. The kitchen was very busy, and then the bar itself became busy. And the Friday, Saturday nights, the younger 19, 20-years are playing pool, and there we had game pool. We had a pretty neat music machine there.
Right.
And it was busy. And the curling nights, the men's curling nights, they'd be there till closing.
Right.
It'd be full. I'd have wing night that night, and people had wings and their drinks, and there was a real hurrah in there.
So you really went with the flow of the people, Andrew, really.
With the flow of the local people, what they wanted.
What they wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I listened, and because I've learned, you're gonna do well, and if you please and get them what they want.
Right.
Right. And you're more successful that way, I feel.
Right. So along with whenever there was the event, you seemed to go hand in hand with Kristen in recreation then, with a lot of the things that went on. I mean, she was always planning something, and you were part of that, even if you were open for her crowd to be here.
Yeah.
For that. So you did work with Kristen for lots of things.
I did, and you know what? Working in here, I was able to watch a lot of recreation going on in here, and I did get ideas, and I watched how she did with the community and that, and then that's why I included Kristen, because I had a bunch of ideas. I'd drive to Thunder Bay to go get supplies, and then I'd have some idea.
Light bulb going on.
Yeah, light bulb go off and go, like the Amazing Race or other activities. But then I talked to Kristen. I said, what do you think? Do you think we should? And then she'd jump aboard with me, and it's way better with two heads. And she was a big help with me to put it.
So those other events, now you're saying Amazing Race, I can't see that we were just talking about that. That was prior to COVID.
Yeah, so all these summer events that had this brainwave on drives were created in the summer of 2020, I do believe. So it was as we're coming out of COVID, but where they were allowing the groups of 100.
Right.
And that's when I figured, you know what, people were depressed, they're looking for something to do.
Yeah.
But prior to having these events, is when my father-in-law, Rush Warrior, built a wooden, this isn't the one here, he built a wooden Crabby Andy. This is when we were still on coming out of lockdown after those 3 months lockdown, where people couldn't do anything as a group, but you could go out by yourself, go for a walk, go for a ride.
Right.
So we built that. We cut out a Crabby Andy, and my idea was, let's go hide this guy.
Right.
We're going to give out gift certificates. We're gonna staple a gift certificate to Crabby Andy, and the first person that finds it takes a picture, wherever this is, and we validate. We see the picture, so then we give them the gift certificate. We were given $50 gift certificates.
What's the time there, Kirsten? Oh, no, fine. Okay, so the Crabby Andy went for quite a while, but I mean, you were busy hiding it all the time. I can't remember. Did you put clues out? No, people just went looking.
At first, no clues, because we thought, okay, we'll put clues out if it sits longer than 12 hours. But it took off right away, and there was so many people already looking around for it. People were finding it. There might have been once. I think the time we hit it in Lake Helen, I think it stayed overnight. I don't think anybody found it. But for the most part, there were people driving around. I seen on social media, we're looking here, we're looking there. We hit it at the marina. We up the Tower Road. We hit it further up the Tower Road. We backed in and we watched all these cars go by because we gave a hint for that one. We said this one is going to be up this way.
Right.
But we hit it all throughout the community. We did it quite regularly, and it just people.
And I know kids were excited because their picture would then be on Facebook.
Then
with their would always publish their picture.
Yeah, we put their picture on and say these people found it, and then it gave the drive for the next one for more people to go out. We had adults looking for it. Adults, kids. It didn't matter. And I know it wasn't about the prize, but I always like to give. I always like to give in the canteen. So we gave free poutines, free food, free just 25.
Well, that time you had, if you're under the top of the tower, you got a free ice cream or something.
Yeah. So what I did there was, and I did kind of, I won't mention the restaurant, but I did kind of get an idea from a Thunder Bay restaurant where they just walked out on the street, and they walk out the street, start handing out gift certificates to try to get people into their business. Oh. And so this was the summer here, and I'm like, we need to create more business here in the summer. So I kind of got that idea, made up all these gift certificates, went live, and I said, but that was a different time. But I went live in this community, and I said, come, I'm at the playground. Come, I got a handful
Paddle to the sea.
Yeah, paddle to the sea. I sat in the canoe.
Yeah.
And
I remember that now.
I think Jessica was with me, sat in the canoe, and people walked up to me, and I gave them, what would you like? It was, I'll give you ice cream or a poutine. But yeah, on the tower, I posted. I went up, I stood on the tower, and I gave away free ice creams and just to get people up, take a look around.
Yeah.
In to know more. Some people haven't been up there, so got them up there, and then they come. The workers would call, oh, you must be doing something again. It's so busy, everybody's coming in. But they'd come in and do that, and then the parents would buy more stuff. So it was just so busy, right?
A pause here then, Kirsten. And I just remember the Amazing Race. Bert hates heights. When he was up that tower and yelling to the next people, get up here, or Casey, eh? But I couldn't believe Bert actually went up that tower.
Bert was a trooper in that whole thing of the Amazing Race.
He hated that. I hated the heights, eh?
Yeah, he did, yeah. He did very well in that. He did a lot, because there was a lot of running in the Amazing Race.
It was, right.
He went all through the community. We had we had it mapped out. There were a lot of people in there, all different ages. And I don't know if we had groups of 4. Yeah, we had to have groups of 4 because you ended up at the ball field. And you had to hit the ball to get your team back to home base. Right. But yeah, they went to the fire hall. We included the fire hall there.
Right.
So a lot of these events, I wanted to include the community. So I always tried to. I talked to Alan then, and they were aboard with that one. So So then people went into the fire hall. They I don't know. I think they rolled hose or something. They did something up there. Then we sent them up to the tower.
Right.
And then to the splash pad.
Oh.
So the splash pad, the township left it on for an extra day or something. It was close to the end of the year. So they had to go through the splash pad, so they got wet, and then they crawled through all the climbing stuff.
Oh, gosh.
So I had people that had volunteers. I had kids from the high school and that for their volunteer hours. But I had people set up at all the stations.
Right.
At the end of it, they ended up at the ball field. and everybody was timed in that amazing race.
I know.
And and then somebody would pitch. I had a pitcher that pitched for all the people coming in,
Right.
and then they hit their people through once their fourth person hit the home base. Then
That might be an event worth doing again sometime.
I really like that event, and I think
think
that
so.
would
It be
attract people to sign
a real
up.
family event again.
Again,
Do
yes.
sometime, because it was very popular.
And-
And it happened to be at the time when Amazing Grace was on TV, of course.
It was,
So
yeah.
lots of people were in tune with that.
So it was the exact same idea of that, but just a crabby idea of how to lay that out.
Right.
And another thing too, even with that one, I have to give thanks to Tim Hortons. They backed me on all these events too.
Right.
Patty and Darren.
Right.
They bring the coffee down there. They have coffee for everybody. They gave prizes
Right.
for all these events that were thought of and
Right.
and worked with Kristen and that during that COVID summer.
Right, right. Yeah. It certainly helped us get through COVID. And even now I look back and I'm thinking, there's none of those little activities happening now. COVID's over and we've moved on, but I miss hearing those things are going to happen.
Yeah, you know what?
And
We moved on back to the fast-paced living,
I know.
right? Because we just forgot all about where we were and
Yeah.
that dead stop in COVID, which made the simpler things like what we did here in Nipigon
Yeah.
a lot of fun,
Yeah,
right? Because you couldn't do it. You were being forced to stay back, and it got more people out to do these.
yeah, yeah. And it was amazing how many people came out to some of those things. Oh my gosh.
I never expected that many people and that much interest, especially even when I posted live where, giving away poutine or whatever else. I couldn't believe that. Just boom, boom, all these cars and the kids and everybody.
And then even the Fireman's Challenge.
Fireman's Challenge.
For Herman to go in that, I can remember. But that was family again.
That was family again. The whole idea was to get that family out there.
Right.
And, but I got to thank the fire department again because that was another idea. And I get a whole island again. I said, okay, I got another one.
Right.
And it was this Fireman's Challenge, and they were right aboard. Their whole fire department was down here. And then now I understand they continue that in fishing festivals now.
Fishing, yeah.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, because the fishing festival was very elaborate. But the one where they have the hose to knock the square over is still popular.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think we had so much going for us as we came out of COVID, really.
We did.
It had the downside, but it had the good side for us. Some other communities might not have seen it, but we did. I
Yeah.
think we did. There was lots to do.
We had,
Things up. Even Kristen and Sumi
yes.
did little things where you had to go by yourself. Your family could go looking
They
for
did,
things.
yeah.
And they had decorated doors and all that kind of thing.
And where the rocks come out
Yeah.
too.
Yes, the rock,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of people, won't say a lot of people, but like people like Kristen and Sumi and others that were thinking of how to get people out and
Yeah.
how to get that mind back to not so much secluded or depressed
Right,
during that period of
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's time to
yeah.
live again.
Big event, not little events that really made it into a big time, I think, for us here. We were very, very lucky.
It put a lot of smiles on the kids' faces.
Yeah, and adults too, because there was a lot of adults taking
There
part
was,
that
yeah.
normally didn't take part.
No.
And I see that continuing. Sumi and Kristen still put out the Easter egg hunt is a whole different thing now. It's around town. And sure enough, that's part of the social media.
Yeah.
They can put out the pictures
They can
now.
put it out and
And you can see who's participating.
And people are all about social media. We all are. And so when you put social media into an activity like that, it does get more people because then they have their picture there, they found it, and it's exciting, right?
It is, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we want to change the whole topic and get into how the COVID then and the ATV run has led into one of the biggest things that happens in Nipigon, thanks to you and help by Ted and the community again. There again, you're saying the sponsors and that are there behind you. So
Yeah.
tell about the first event that you and Kristen planned that one.
Yeah, so just back up just a bit there when we purchased two quads because we were like, I don't know how long we're going to be not on lockdown, but just not able to be back to normal. So we purchased two quads, and we said, as a family, we need to start going out and riding around. And then I'm looking around the trails, and I'm thinking again, like the Amazing Race and everything else, and I'm thinking we could do something here, which became the rides with the prizes. And but I had the help of my family and everything else, but I still need Kristen again. She helped me with this first big one,
Right.
because we had already did these other events together.
How
So
many people in that first one, Andrew? Do you ever remember? I just remember James went on the roof for me and took
Yeah.
a picture of all.
yeah, we had 106 people.
Oh, because you could only have
We
100.
only have 100.
Right.
Yeah, but we were outdoors, so. But I stressed all along that we could only pick 100. As people were registering, keeping it to that, but we didn't pre-register. Everybody came in to register, and yeah. So for the very, very first ride, I thought, holy man, we have a lot of people here, and that was a stamp run. So for that very first ride, I wanted to include the businesses. So if we were getting out of town people, which we got a lot of Thunder Bay people even for that one, I talked to the businesses that were willing to participate, and so they'd have to go to the business, to the bargain shop, get a stamp.
Right.
Canadian Tire, get a stamp. So they had a card, they had to get about 8 stamps, because I figured out of town people will now see what Nipigon has to offer.
Right.
And I think too, we also went into Red Rock. Dan
As
Pierce was
on
involved
Front
in
Street,
it.
eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had someone at the tower, they had to get a stamp there, because I wanted people to climb up there and see that for the first ride. And then we went to the Tower Road. So it was all based within the ride. I mean, all based within the 2 communities.
Right.
And we had so many prizes. I couldn't believe all the prizes. Just all the businesses here that donated,
Right.
Thunder Bay businesses. And
And
Yeah.
it was totally outside because you ended up at the curling club and all the prizes were given outside. So the whole thing was meeting the rules of the government.
it was meeting the rules of,
Outside and
yeah,
100 people.
yeah, and
So the 6 people were the organizers, the other
100%, yeah. We're everybody's social distancing, and Chris and I were standing on this big trailer with all the prizes, and call up the ticket, and away you go. And but yeah, it was definitely the beginning of where we are today. We're going on our 5th year with rides, I guess.
How many?
This will be our 5th. We started 2020 in the fall. 21, 22, 23, 24, so 4.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
4.5 rides and sometimes 3 a year, right?
Yes, yeah. And we did a poker run to Camp 1 last year, where we had people at Camp 1 that were cooking food.
Oh,
So we
right.
had lunch there. People, all the riders supported them, bought the food off of them, and
So there again, you included, because you ate at Stillwater a couple of times, you go to Huey's.
go to Huey's.
Giant Gardening, and to Legion one time.
Nipigon Legion a few times. They put on a meal. So all these rides, the way we looked at it was, we wanted to support the community in one way or another. Yeah, we're going to go out and have fun, but all these riders coming in, like we were hitting 140, 100, 120, even 80. 80's like more than enough. They bring a lot of money per rider.
Right.
And they got to eat somewhere. They're gonna get their gas. So we always wanted to make sure that a business, or many of them, I've been told a lot of times, they go, "Oh, you see all the vehicles at the Husky having breakfast with all the quads on the back."
Right.
So, but yeah, for our rides, we always ran out of an organization or a business in order to support local.
Right. Right.
And
So it's interesting because, you know, I'm always there taking pictures, but we're looking at, it's just blossomed and blows me away. The money that comes in those side-by-sides now that come on your rides. Oh, my
we
goodness.
have some that are up to $100,000. That
Incredible.
and a lot of them, they buy their side by side at 35, 40,000, 45,000. Then they put all this money into it over the next few years, and they're up to the $80,000 mark.
But just think, it started with those three-wheelers how many years ago?
Started with the ATCs back when
Yeah.
me, Todd, and Ted were kids, and,
Yeah.
and running
And
around
all
with
those-
them. And
Yeah, and the little things, yeah. So most people who are watching this may not know that Andrew lived down the street from the Clearwaters, and him and Ted and Todd, both Todd,
Yeah.
were always playing together. So I said it was unique that you and Ted ended up doing the ATV run. And I know Ted missed that first one.
he missed
and
the
he was
first
so
one, but his
after
niece
that.
was a part of it, so it was still still in the family.
And he's been, I can't believe how he cuts trails.
I
And
told
yes.
Ted right from the beginning, well, after our first year, and I said it again at Stillwater when I was giving out the prizes last fall. I could not do this without Ted.
Yeah,
Right? It worked out. We mend well. He's gone one way with the trail clearing. He's good on the trail socializing with everybody. He plays a part, I play a part.
Right.
And they're two different roles.
right.
And without him, it wouldn't work the
I
way.
just can't believe
the way we
how
do.
he knows the back country, and he'll come back and he'll tell me some guy didn't know he was out there in the middle of nowhere. And
Yeah.
and Ted knows all those back roads. It just blows me away.
I had no idea, and I born and raised here, and I had no idea of all these trails and accesses and
Right.
and until I
And
started.
so some are better for quads, some are better for ATVs. I mean side by side, but some work for both.
Yeah, so all of our main trails that we've been running on for the last few years, Ted has made sure that it's been wide enough for the side by side.
Side-by-sides,
So Ted's done a lot of work. There's been a lot of people supporting Ted out there, helping him. It's just not me and Ted, but Ted is out there every single day,
I know he's all
looking
for a different.
for a different trail, just clear cut, especially out in the spring after the winter. The trails like this with trees. So even though it's been clear all summer with all the snow and that, the trail's sitting like that. So Ted's got to go along and cut all that again.
Right.
And then they got to go along and pick it up where you're running all over it. It's a lot of people don't realize the work that's involved for him.
Yeah.
Because some people go, oh, it's a trail. The trail's already there. You
But
gotta
I
maintain it.
was just saying to my husband the other day, though, that now that so many have been out, they could almost come as a own little group and go for a ride because the trail is well made. And if you've
Yes.
been on a couple of times, you could take another friend and go for a ride. It doesn't have to be highly organized to me.
No,
As long as people know where you're going and you have to know, but some of those trails are easily accessible.
they are.
Even to take your friend to the tower for the view and back again. That's an amazing place to stop.
And that's the same thought I had too, Glenn. I was, because I'm always been community oriented, trying to get people together and bring more into Nipigon if I could. But that was another same thought. And I'm like, if we get all these people in here from out of town, they'll come back.
Yeah,
They'll come back, maybe two
Right.
quads,
Yeah.
but they'll come back to our community because they see that you can leave from Nipigon or Red Rock and go anywhere you want. You can go to Beardmore, you can go to Doran, you can go anywhere you want from
Right.
here. And
we're
to
so
realize
fortunate, that
we are very fortunate.
right in the spot to go from here when you go and just spread right out towards Black Sturgeon and
Yeah.
the tower and Beardmore. You're right. It's amazing.
Yeah, you can make a full weekend out of it here.
Yes,
And
you could.
Nipigon, you get a hotel or go camping, and you're not going to drive on the same trails the whole
Right,
weekend.
right.
Yeah.
So your biggest ride was 100 vehicles or something, second last one?
So we thought that we had broke all records last year, and then we had this the spring opening,
Right.
and that one actually jumped ahead of, and this is the ride that we used to call it the mud run. I didn't want to call it the mud run this year because the spring was dry, not like it is now this summer, but so I was afraid to call it the mud run. But that right there, we usually get 75, 80 people, and we beat out our big poker run
Right.
last August.
Wow.
So we were drawing crowds of.
So I think you need to let people know too that every time you had a ride, some of the money was given to a different charity or a different group in Nipigon and Red Rock.
Both communities. We did a donation to Seniors Van in Red Rock. We did a donation to long-term care. I was told that they needed a couple lazy boy chairs for what they called it a recreation account, and so that because they have their own account. I know I see they do bake sales and that.
Right.
So we ended up doing one ride just completely dedicated to them, and we sold those stickers right there. So we had a donation
right.
from Red Rock,
Right.
and we went out and sold those stickers. All that sticker money went to the long-term care unit, and then the lump sum that we made after prizes went to the long-term care unit.
Right.
Yeah, we gave to Red Rock kids. Just every ride. Well, we made sure
Right.
we gave to a
And
charity.
then you need to let everybody know about how amazing sponsors you have when you decide to have a ride.
I've never really had to go out and knock on doors
I
for
remember you
these
told me
these
that.
rides, and it's incredible. It just people reach out and say we'd like to give. It's been nice that way, that because it's tough to go knock on someone's door and a big business or a small business, whatever, everybody's going through their own thing, and I don't want to be that guy to be asking
Yeah.
for. And I didn't have to. And a lot of these Thunder Bay riders too went on their own, and they went and asked for donations.
Ah, okay.
Because they strongly believed in this also, this ride, because you had the same riders coming back, plus more, right?
Right.
But these people too worked hard to get us prizes, and riders donated prizes themselves.
Right.
And some of these riders had businesses that come with $100 bill every ride. Here's the prize.
Wow.
So we would always end up with thousands of dollars of prizes, cash, and in
That was good because you didn't have to solicit it.
didn't have to, and that was my worry. I didn't want to do that. I like to ride, I like to put stuff on, but I didn't want to pester people.
Right. Okay, Kristen, we'll just pause just for a minute. So it first started, it was all Nipigon based, and then you ended up going over to Red Rock. Because you were the last ones with Fish and Game, right?
Yeah. So we did. It was mostly based out of Nipigon. We did pop over to Red Rock once or twice throughout the time out of the marina. Kind of blended them, and then last year we moved over to Red Rock, and then last year we did out of the marina. There was no Fish and Game last year, but we did out of the Red Rock Legion for our August poker run.
yes, right.
And that worked out so well with them. We did they put food on. That we had 140 people there. That place was packed that afternoon, and they had food, and we had the poker hands, and it was like a social.
Right.
And I think the Legion did well. We were happy. Yeah, we were looked after quite well. And then this year we went back, and so we did the mud run. Fish and Game contacted me last year and said, hey, we wanted to get involved in in your spring ride. So we ran out of the Fish and Game this year. They were great hosts, and it worked out well because you have that Red Rock Marina down there. It's beautiful. There's lots of room. And then
And so now Canada Day is going to be out of Red Rock,
so yeah,
or not Nipigon.
yeah, we're gonna start in Red Rock. So all the out of town people will we're gonna unload at the Red Rock Recreation Center for July 1st Canada Day in Red Rock.
Okay.
And I thought that was a nice fit because Red Rock Legion's having a breakfast in the morning. They got live entertainment when we get back at the Red Rock Marina.
Right.
And Red Rock Fire Department's got a barbecue. So you know what? There's a lot of stuff there for the riders before and after the ride.
Right. Okay.
So-
Good idea.
Yeah, so I thought that'd be a nice host for that.
Right. Right.
And we're just going to take them, we're not going very far, but this is going to be kind of like the first ride we had in 2020, where we're just taking them around Nipigon Red Rock and showing them the smaller trails around here, Black Sturgeon Dam.
Right.
Just going to keep them close to Nipigon. And then, hopefully, like we talked about, they know the base and they can branch themselves out.
Right. They can. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have one for August too? I saw.
We're not too sure about the
Oh, that's
August one
awesome.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah, but now there's lots of opportunity, you're right, for people to come on their own.
yes,
There's no reason why you can't come down for an afternoon and
No.
go for a ride now.
And-
And they know the places to park and how to get there.
100%. And our page, our ATV Country on Facebook, is there. And Ted and I are still going to be going out on John's, and we're going to be inviting people to come out for a ride
Right.
without the prizes and the bling.
Right.
But we could still have a great day together with everybody.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit easier.
Anyway, I mean, kudos to you and Ted and to all the sponsors, because it's something that no one again expected was going to happen. Not going to blossom like that.
No,
And
no.
just when you think of the hundreds of people that have come to Nipigon and Red Rock just because of the ATV rides. And for Herman and I, we just walk around and are blown away by the quality of and the quantity of those machines.
Yeah.
It just blows you away. Those big trailers for them, closed-in ones, open ones, just is amazing.
You got a 3-hour radius of people that were always coming, like from Manitowoc to the Marathon and down in Greenstone and,
Yeah,
outlining area Thunder Bay. Like all of our events, 80% of those people attending were all from out of town.
right,
We had about 20% local.
right.
80% they came in here and they loved it. And like I said, our last few rides, you see more new faces.
Right,
As, more people are I see our page is getting bigger.
right.
And I see some Minnesota people on there. So, yeah. So
Well, Alice would have been from BC if she hadn't gone.
yeah, she would have been, yes, for sure. But,
Disappointing for her, but anyway. Her and Herman have been on a couple of the trails just themselves. Again,
Yeah.
it's easy to do because they know where to go.
Yeah.
So they know the trail is there and they can find it themselves. So they're able to go on it themselves.
yeah, the trails are very good shape.
Right.
And
And I think we should just add one little kudos to the people who come that are the emergency people, EMS people you've had along or police along, just in case something happens on your ride.
yes, a lot of our rides, we did have off-duty EMS people, but they brought their trauma bags.
Right.
They were very supportive. We've had 3 or 4 different medical people
Right,
throughout these rides. We've given them radios. We've had off-duty officers on the rides from Thunder Bay, Nipigon. And I've always been in communication with the OPP locally.
right,
I'd give them a map out of what we're up to, timing, so they knew exactly where we were going to be throughout the day.
right,
And they also assisted us with crossing the highway. They'd shut the highway down so that the 100 machines can safely cross the Trans-Canada Highway.
right.
And there was never any issues. They supported us 100%, all these,
Right.
including the fire department too.
Right, right,
So it was very well supported by everyone.
right. It's a big, big community event.
And you need them all you need everybody's support
You do.
to pull something like this
For
off.
sure.
It's just not 2 people.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
know that your family's behind you. I mean, if they weren't, they're left standing on the corner then.
Yeah, for sure.
I was always kidding Jessica about riding, but no, I just think it's a wonderful thing. And I wanted to do the interview because times are going to change.
Yeah.
And it won't be the same in the future. So people will know how it started, who started it, and I think appreciate the fact that at one time Nipigon was the place to come for an ATV ride or to come and visit Crabby Andy's canteen. Those are going to be part of history of Nipigon. And I appreciate you coming today. and
I appreciate
doing that.
being invited to this interview.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.